Welcome everybody. This is the Aries new moon for 2018. So officially it's the real kicking off point for the astrological year. It's very intense at the moment. The energy is quite out there. And at this point in time, I'm really noticing the Mercury going direct, thankfully. I had a very intense conversation with someone online today and I could feel the aggression pushing through, and I was trying really hard not to be aggressive myself, and I found that quite interesting. So yeah, big shifts as we've come through. The Mercury Retrograde has been very intense and quite wearing. I think a lot of people have been really knocked around by it. It's been a very challenging time. A lot of people have been waiting to sort of hear for news, and it's taken a long time for that news to come through. And, so at this point in time, where we are, it's kind of a powerful time to just get started knowing we can move forward. Ironically enough, though, we're about to come out of Aries and move into Taurus. So we're going from the Martian push energy and we're now moving into Taurian energy, which is a different energy altogether. It's much more earthy, it's less fiery, but finally we're having some momentum to move forward. So I'm going to draw a card. We have 4 people so far, and we might have a 5th. We'll see how we go. I've had a request for a card for someone who isn't able to make it, so that would be really cool. And we'll see how we'll just see how it all goes. So here we are. First card for the collective. Beautiful. This is really powerful. This is called integration. This is about looking at what's going on in all the different aspects of our world and how do we actually integrate all of these parts of ourselves is a big question. So, how do we do this? We've got, a lot going on at the moment, and it can be a very challenging time to see how and where we can integrate all of the different things, the different parts of ourselves, and not lose parts of ourselves. I think that's the big question. Not a question, sorry. It's a big ask in many ways. We all like to, take on a lot of stuff, but sometimes we actually also hide parts of ourselves because we're also looking to ensure that we are, we've got a lot going on. So what we want to do essentially is figure out how to integrate all these aspects of ourselves. And sometimes when we're with other people, it's an interesting one where we can unwittingly shut parts of ourselves down and not allow that part through. So yeah, it's a big one to sort of say, hey, I'm going to be all of me here, present with you now. And hopefully you don't hide parts of yourselves, because sometimes there are some amazing personalities in our world, but they can also be very overpowering. And it can be we have a tendency to shut that down in ourselves. That's what I'm really getting strongly with this card. It's taken me a few minutes to get to that point, but I think that's really the key for this card, is indicating that, when we integrate all of ourselves and we stand in our strength and our power and our truth, then we don't necessarily then allow parts of ourselves that would normally hide in front of other personalities to disappear. We want to stay whole and complete. And that's a big journey. And that's a journey we're probably all on now. I think it's an interesting one. So that's the card for the collective, integration. I'm just going to put that card down here for the moment. So the first person we have here at the moment is Libby. And Libby's card is beautiful. It's called Flowering. So this card here is about allowing that amazing aspect of self to come to the surface. And so where in your world are you not possibly allowing that to happen? Or do you find that, you're busy doing so many other things that these other aspects of you that are there are having trouble finding their place in your world because there's so much going on? And are you unwittingly just pushing them to the side because there's just children, work, intense work, very challenging times. I know that where Libby is in New South Wales, she's just gone on school holidays. So I don't know if you're getting time out yourself, Libby, but good luck. Maybe now's the time, making use of this time is to really allow this part of you to come through and be present. And it's a bit like the integration card. It's about integrating these parts of ourselves that we hide. So ensuring that they don't disappear, making sure that we don't unwittingly shut that part of ourselves down. So that's a beautiful card for Libby. Okay, so the next person we have here is Fee, and I'm just going to mute a few people. So, okay, so the next card is for Fee, and we've got Fee and Fiona. We have two people here today, so just so that people don't get a little bit confused. Card for Fee is beautiful. This one's called Completion. This is beautiful, Fee. I really love this card. This card is really indicating that as you pull all these parts of yourself together, aka the integration, and that parts of you that are flowering, so this is for everybody as well, quite beautiful. It's like you're finding the last piece of the puzzle, which is really powerful. So what part of you is making sure that, you know, this last piece of the puzzle is really able to come through and be present so that you can put it into place. You can feel it hovering. You're not sure where it is, but you know it's coming. And is, you know, is there something stopping you, or are you stopping yourself? So you're really close to pulling something into place. And it's usually, yeah, this is really beautiful card. So this is called Completion. Yeah, I absolutely love that card. It's quite gorgeous. So card for Jody, and Jody also has another request. Got to be careful not to whack my computer. It's a bit wobbly this morning. So, okay, so we've got an extra card. Oh gosh, we've got lots of cards today. Card for Lisa and Georgia after I do the others. So I'll do Jody first, and then I'll do Fiona, and then we'll do the others. Okay, so this is a card for Jody. Just reading all the messages that are coming up on the screen. So thank God it's not Facebook Live. It'd be much harder, I reckon. So, okay, so Jody, where are you comparing yourself to others, and where do you feel that somehow maybe you're lacking when in actual fact you're not, because what some people have is perfect for them and what you have is perfect for you? I think that's really powerful. So be careful not to get caught up in comparisons. And sometimes it might be other people comparing themselves to you and you unwittingly getting caught up in the story. So something to remember here, making sure that you don't get caught up in comparisons, quite important. So especially when we're all doing healing work, it's quite powerful. And then, you know, some people, you feel like somehow you're not actually contributing enough or putting more in, and maybe you're missing something. In actual fact, you're not missing anything. So now we have a card for Fiona. This card here is called Change. And so the change is coming, Fiona. And what's going on for you is, where are you unwittingly getting pulled out of the center and making sure that you know, like when I say getting pulled out of the center, it's like a cyclone, as you can see. As you get really close into this card, you can actually really see there's a cyclone going on. There's a lot of energy. And are you centered and grounded, or are you being pulled into the whirlwind of flurry going on around you, and losing your center, and then not being able to cope with what's coming through? So with so much change happening, with so much going on, be aware that it's really easy to get caught up in other people's emotions, projections, or whatever, and you're going to lose your center. Stumbling over my own words there. You're going to lose your center if you're not careful. So when the change starts to come through, stay centered and grounded as possible. Be your own yin, be your own yang, be the complete balance, be the integration, be the flowering, be understanding your comparison, knowing that you are perfect as you are as the change comes through, because everyone has something valuable and very precious to offer. And so when the change comes through, stay as grounded and as centered as possible. Okay, so we now have a card for Lisa. And she's with Georgia. We have here Thunderbolt. Right, so for Lisa, what we have here with Thunderbolt is knowing that there's change coming through, but learning to be the witness so that you're not caught up in a drama. When you're the witness of change, you are far more in a place of far more power, similar to the change card. If you get caught up in the drama, then you're going to be taken out quite more powerfully probably than you would if it was just change. Okay, so this Thunderbolt is knowing that there's something massive happening in your world. It's actually probably going to be a personal part of you that's going to be cracked open, and it's going to feel very challenging and very painful on some levels. But if you can stand back and witness what's going on for yourself and learn to recognize that it's just an aspect of you that can't stay the same anymore, then you'll be in a more powerful position to be able to stay centered and grounded and move through that change for yourself, okay? So it's really important to be present and to be the witness rather than the, interacting. The more you're interacting, like the change card, you get taken out, and that's the danger for yourself and your peace of mind and your sense of self. Okay, that's a very powerful card. That's called, whoopsie. That's the Thunderbolt card. Oh my gosh, we have lots of cards. One more card for Georgia, and then we're going to have another card for Charlie, who wasn't able to make the call today. So, okay. So, Georgia, here's a card called Compromise for you. Okay, so this card here is looking at where are you being offered or you're given an opportunity to do something, and are you compromising because it's a good thing, or are you being pressured to compromise? There's times when compromise is good because you're conscious of the changes, you're conscious of what needs to go on, and if you keep sticking to what's so important to you, you'll end up missing out on something that you actually probably need to do. Hence, you need to compromise and find a balance. Or are you in a place where you're being asked to compromise or pushed to compromise, and it doesn't feel good and it doesn't feel right? So find out where it is in your world you're being pushed, or you're pushing yourself to stick to the old thing, or being pushed to make a change and it doesn't feel good. So it could be one or the other, and it's a hard one to say at this point in time, obviously, which one it is, but you'll know what's going on for you. You'll know if someone's trying to coerce you, or you'll know if you're being too stubborn. And there's a good lesson, there's a good self-lesson in that card for you. Okay, so one last card for Charlie. Oh my God, look how many cards there are. There's 6, 7 cards today. I'm a bit freaked out. Okay, Charlie, this is gorgeous. Consciousness. Okay, this is probably not such an easy card to read from an empowerment perspective. Well, actually, that's a bit not true. It's not true at all, let's be honest. It's actually a really powerful card. It's really going, where are you truly conscious of what it is that's going on in your world, and where are you being present to yourself? Or are you being so out there with the stars and the fairies and all the rest of it that you're not actually really aware of your own sense of presence and consciousness? It's a big one. Okay, so I think we all need to look at this one for ourselves as well. I think it's quite important. So consciousness one here is being conscious of yourself, and the fact that you are more than just a physical being on the planet. You're actually everything. You are part of it. You're one with the galaxy. To me, the great cosmic joke is, that here we are leading these amazingly busy lives on planet Earth. And the reality is we're like ants on the back, or fleas on the back of a dog, or ants in the garden. We're just this tiny, tiny microcosm of the macrocosm, and the consciousness is massive, and it's all expansive. So being present to that in ourselves as well is a good one. Okay, so wow, that's really huge. I've got 7... I actually got 8 cards here. Holy dooly. I didn't realize I'd have so many today. So having a good look at everything, everybody, here it is. Integration, not losing all aspects of ourselves, and learning to integrate all of ourselves and stay present to that. And that, of course, includes the flowering aspect, this beautiful feminine part of ourselves, especially if we've got women who are watching the video here. This beautiful part of ourselves, and also for men too, our softer side, our more gentle side. We shouldn't be hiding that. It's important to be, to have this part of ourselves feel safe and present, and that's part of that integration. And then, of course, the question mark comes up, well, are we looking at comparing ourselves to other people? And, basically we can't. We're in no position to do that. Every person is amazing and unique, and remembering that is incredibly important. So as we do that, we then come into a place of completion, recognizing who we are, and that we are literally all integrated and quite amazing as each individual personality. But of course, as change comes round, this is going to, pull us out and pull those aspects of ourselves out, and all the integration work that we've done gets, thrown for the four corners of the planet and the 4, aspects of the circle. So it's really important to remember that we stay as centered and as grounded as possible when we go through our change. Because when it's as intense as this kind of change, this is the one that has the most ability to actually really pull us completely off center and probably do more damage. So learning to stay centered and present during the change is absolutely important. It's absolutely imperative because that's where we become the observer, and we learn to respond and not react. And when we're responding, we're in a better place to cope with the changes that are going on in the world that's changing for us. And of course, the question mark, well, don't be surprised, you might be pushed to compromise a part of yourself, or you might be too stubborn to allow a change to take place, and that makes it even more painful. So looking at where your power is, are you being pushed to make change from the internal or from the external? And then finally coming down to the last card, which is consciousness, you know, that fundamentally we better not take ourselves so seriously, otherwise we'll implode, and we'll the internal combustion system is going to go off, and it's not going to serve anybody, so least of all you. Okay, all right, everyone, I think that's an extraordinary reading for today. I've actually been quite amazed at how well the timing's gone. That was a whole 9 cards. Oh my gosh, yeah, 8 cards. That's huge. So thank you very much, everybody, for joining. So this Aries new moon, I didn't go into too much detail about it, but fundamentally it's a time of great change and, of course, moving forward. But as we move into Taurus, the energy is going to shift again, and it's become more earthy and more about our resources and our finances and so forth. So where do we find our balance in that? So the next reading is going to be for the full moon in, gosh, can't even think of it now. I've got a mental block, so I'm not going to go there. Okay, I'm going to forget that one, otherwise I'll do my head in and stumble around and waste precious time on these videos. Thank you very much, everyone. It's been wonderful to have you all here today. Deeply appreciate your presence, and look forward to seeing you again on the next recording in about 2 weeks' time. And I'll post that up on my Facebook page. Thanks, everyone. Speak to you all soon.